AP is reporting that Boston cell phone service has been shut down so as to prevent any potential remote detonations. What's the significance?
That's a big deal. And it's not routinely done in the case of this, but if the devices do have a remote detonation capability, if they're deemed to be that sophisticated, the cellular network is one way that's done. It's not the only way, and that this is what you do. And the federal government has this authority under the FCC authorizing statute to do it. It will be very inconvenient for the people of Boston suddenly to be without cell phones, but what it says to me is someone on the ground there has reason to believe that there may be a very sophisticated remote detonation capability here.
Well, in fact, we heard Governor Deval Patrick make the comment, quote, "We don't have the whole picture yet." What do you make of his admission?
Well, he's exactly right. It's inconceivable they would have the whole picture by now. This is a very complex incident. They're learning new things all the time, and it will take hours, if not days, for it to come together. But it does come together pretty quickly. I mean, these sorts of things, even remembering back to 9/11 or other major incidents we have, by the end of the day, the general outlines of the plot begin to take shape and become available.
But you're talking about the sophistication of this, the fact that they're having to shut down cell phone service in Boston so as to prevent the risk of a remote detonation. And by the way, this is the AP reporting this. What you've seen thus far, is it terribly sophisticated, these 3 bombs? I mean, would it lead you to believe that there could be something more significant?
What I will say is it's not terribly deadly. Meaning my first reaction was this could have been a lot worse. Now, that doesn't mean it's not sophisticated. It may have been. That was the design of the perpetrator. But the shutting down of the cell network, I've been doing this in this line of work since before 9/11. And to the best of my knowledge, it's the first time that's happened in the United States. I may be wrong about that. I haven't had a chance to check it. But it's the first time it's happened. It may be purely precautionary. They might just say, hey, we don't know what we're up against, let's not take any risks here, let's turn it off too. But it may be that as they're looking at this device, maybe the one that they're seeing a detonated cell phone in that, and they're saying this is part of the detonation technique.
And Tom Keene, you were talking about JFK Library, 3 to 4 miles away from where the initial explosions occurred. That would suggest, wouldn't it, that all of Boston is potentially
yes, there's no question about it. I mean, I defer to Richard on this, but this is far enough away where it's not like somebody wandered down the street and deposited another device casually a block or two away. From Boylston Street, moving east, you go towards the water in the financial district, and then if you turn right and go down the shores, you see where the Kennedy family picked out the library location. Richard and I have both been there. I've actually taken exams there a number of years ago. JFK Library is part of the University of Massachusetts at Boston, and I would say, top of my head, it's 5 miles away, maybe 4 miles away. The map there showing Boylston Street, then move to the right, down the water, near where the Boston Globe is, and you get to the library. The other thing I would say, it seems to be the major hospital is the Tufts Medical Center. This is south of Boylston Street, but very, very close, and is truly a first-class operation. Among other things, it's a level 1 trauma center, so they've gone through all of the kind of things you need to go through for this event. The hockey player Cam Neely has a cancer center there, of course, legendary with the Boston Bruins, but there is a hospital quite close to take the injured to.
You know, one of the things I conclude from this is, assuming it's one perpetrator behind both incidents or all 3 incidents, they were really trying to make a statement about things that were very important to Americans. A library honoring one of our presidents, the Boston Marathon, a historic event.
On Patriots Day.
On Patriots Day. They weren't necessarily attempting to maximize casualties. And kill as many people.
And again, you come to that conclusion because when you saw the footage of the explosion, you said it was not as extreme as you would have thought if they were trying to maximize damage.
And so it looked to me that way. It looked to me like it was more of a blast wave than shrapnel. But again, that was just watching a Twitter video. But now the JFK Library is very interesting, as Tom was saying. It is at some remove. It's sort of set back from the very busy areas. And while, of course, there are people going there to visit it, it's nothing like this area in Copley Square, which is the heart of a huge city with tens of thousands of people there for the marathon.
And Bloomberg having Brigham's and Women's Hospital with 2 patients in critical condition. This is what's so strange about this. I'm sure the same emotion as New York and 9/11 is these are quiet scenes. Brigham and Women is just down the road from Northeastern University. It's a city hospital. Women fight to go there because of their world-class OBGYN services, and today they have 2 patients reported.
So perhaps as we listen to some of this, Richard, we might perhaps take heart that it's not as bad as it could have been. And again, it's still unfolding. We don't
still
know
unfolding.
If
it's ongoing. As far as the people in Boston are concerned and the rest of the country, this is an active incident. And it's an active security incident. Initial immediate casualties certainly could have been a lot worse, not trying to minimize the seriousness of what happened there.
Yeah.
And so one of the other things that was interesting, I said, is I took note of how they've now set up the 2 different call lines for people, both one who need to contact family members, which just got a lot harder now that the cell networks are shut down, and the other for people with leads. Right. Both very important. And what this shows, I think, is the maturation and sophistication of our Homeland Security apparatus.
Yeah,
Professor Law.
It's a little different.
This is a much tighter operation. It's been tested. It's been trained. There are protocols that people go through, and that's one of the things that's happened in this country over the last decade.
And just to share that number with everyone, we heard from Ed Davis saying if you know anything about the incident, you can call 1-800-494-TIPS. 1-800-494-TIPS.
And by the way, Trish, that other number for missing persons, for family members who are concerned, that number is area code 617-635-4500. If you haven't spoken to a friend or loved one, perhaps that's one place to start.